the ways that we have grown as humans through this pursuit, the ways that we have had to dig into our psychology and start to repair that, heal some earlier wounds, and reshape our approach to everything in life, and especially trading, has been a powerful human change. I think that I'm a better, stronger, more compassionate, humble and aggressive person as a result of trading. And I like it. I like who I'm putting my energy to and who I'm becoming, just because it's stronger, and I'm having more faith in myself, and I'm believing in my worthiness.
Just a quick pause before we get into this. Trading can be intense, and staying mindful during your session matters so much. That's why I created and am sharing a free 3-part audio experience that's helped me deeply. 1 for starting your day with calm intention, 1 to stay centered while you trade, and 1 to wind down with grace when it's time to stop. These tracks are yours. Just click the link in the description. Hey, welcome back. Here at the Market Mamas podcast, I cover a wide range of topics from the intricacies of day trading to mindset mastery and psychological growth, with the goal of the conversations being next level growth for all of us. My name is Becky, and I'm a US-based futures day trader from the Pacific Northwest. My trading experience includes trading stocks, options, crypto, and futures, with both trading a personal account as well as with prop funding companies. Over time, I found that I most enjoy the fast-paced world of intraday futures trading, so that is my primary day trading focus now. Thank you for joining me on the Market Mamas podcast today.
Hey, welcome back to the Market Mamas podcast. My name is Becky, and I am the host. So last week was the official 2-year anniversary of Market Mamas being live, and my accountability partner and I started this 2 years ago because we felt like we were in the messy middle of our trading careers. And it's really hard to be a good enough trader to be able to see setups all the time. Every day you can see a really good setup that fits within your trading parameters and execute on it and really have a great trading day. And it's so easy to get faked out, right? It's so easy to get faked out by the market when you think that it's doing a certain thing and your setup is looking really good. And you can maybe just fudge a little bit on exactly what your entry criteria is and get in the trade before it's ready, or even you get in your trade based on your perfect entry criteria and it goes against you. And that is a normal variance of being a day trader. However, it's tricky because when you don't have many years of experience, the emotional impact of those situations is really hard. And I don't want to put too much emphasis on the challenges of it, because I think when we focus on it's really hard, sometimes you bring more of that into your life. Like, it is hard, so then you're going to have hard days. It's sort of like manifesting what you say. What you say, you will find more often. It's part of the reticular activating system of our minds, is that when we fixate on something, we start to see it more and more and experience it more and more, and it's more in our faces. And so I've been trying to reframe that and just think about how far I've come and the beauty in what I have created and how much more skilled I am now as a trader 4.5 years in than I was, the first couple of years, and how much better I can read the markets and how much more steady and patient I am at my charts. And I fully recognize that I'm not nowhere near as good as I want to be eventually, but I definitely want to give credence and respect to how far I've come. And so today I kind of want to talk about that, just the experience of respecting how far you've come as a trader. If you are watching this podcast, it means that you are in it. I think the point of Market Mamas is to speak to people who love trading, want to be traders, have had some success, and are working on fine-tuning their system. The essence of Market Mamas is to be a trader psychology podcast. And so to talk about some technicals for sure, but also about the experience of knowing enough to be dangerous and still sometimes falling on your face and having to figure out how to get back up again. And that is what I have been doing essentially for a few years. And when we started Market Mamas 2 years ago, neither Kendra or I were consistently profitable. And since then, unfortunately for me, Kendra had to step away from Market Mamas for personal reasons last Christmas time. And so I'm creeping up on the 1 year of hosting this podcast by myself. And there's been a lot of growing pains with that as well. I mean, it's a lot to host a podcast, but then especially to kind of own it all yourself has been, a journey. But I think with anything in life, when you pursue something that you really feel driven to and called to and interested in and passionate about, you just keep showing up for the work. And there is a period where you are just muddling through and you're not sure if your biggest goals are going to come to fruition, but you sure hope, and you work towards them and you stay dedicated. Even on the hard days, you can, experience the emotions of that. But the true growth comes when you just keep getting back up the next day and you just keep knocking out the things that you need to get accomplished. And you periodically, weekly, monthly, revisit your goals and make sure you're still on track with what you want to do. You still feel called to the energy that you're putting forth. Because me, as a mom and a day trader and a podcast host, as well as still a part-time nurse, I have to be passionate about and driven to these things or there's just no time. And so that is my situation. And so that's why I am still standing 2 years into creating this podcast and why I still feel like it's important to put out this content. And there are times when I'm, it's kind of different with different guests or different topics that I want to cover, to what extent do I cover them and how do I organize them? I mean, there's a lot to consider with it, but the heart of it has, I think, been consistent through every episode of wanting to bring value to traders and just normalize the experience of what we're working through. And for me, I have been profitable the past 2 years, which has been great. My wins have surpassed my expenses in terms of account fees, commissions, and paying for my mentorship still at my community with Jermaine that you guys know because it's been on the podcast a few times. My wins are surpassing my expenses, which is profitability as a trader, which is something that is hard to achieve. And I would like to have said as I'm nearing the end of this year that I was consistently profitable month over month in the year 2025, but that would not be true. And I'm not really about falsifying anything. I had months where I struggled and I was more emotional. I was caught up with the kids. Things were going on. And I just, I would have a tilt day and I would struggle and I would set myself back. And so those experiences are not gone for me, but they are lessening. They're shortening. The lessons are more predominant and my lower lows are not as steep. I don't feel the sadness, regret, fear, anxiety of a losing day near to the extent that I did a couple of years ago. And, instead of having like really hard days that carry over into multi-day painful periods, usually I can reframe, speak to who I need to speak to. My internal structure has shifted a little bit with who my go-to people are in the last year. And it's really just beautiful how people come into your life when they're supposed to and the relationship expand at the right time. And if you can really just every once in a while step back and think about who's around you and why and what value they bring and the conversations that you're having, and make sure you're giving yourself time to, water the things that are blossoming in the direction that you want to go and weeding out what is just kind of noise. And I think I've gotten better at that as well. And so that's part of a growth curve of fine tuning what we have in our experience that's going to lead us to the greater outcomes as well. And so it's been a growth period for me over the 2 years of Market Mamas, the last one pretty much independent. And then again, just as another year as a trader, I think that being profitable as a trader is a long-term project. I think to say that you want to have, a dollar figure on it month over month is not really realistic, but instead to reframe that as I want to improve my trading skills, my system. I want to dial in my entry and exit criteria. I want to make sure that I am structuring my day around my highest profitability outcomes in terms of my process management and my business management and how much money I allot each month to account fees if needed. And then where I back off, if I hit a wall with my certain behaviors, am I going to take a break? What does that look like? How long does that take? Is it just a 1-day break or is it a multi-day break? And then, what you do to manage both the highs and lows. When you're having a really good streak, overconfidence is dangerous. And I have encountered that as well. When I'm on a winning streak, there's almost like a voice in the back of my head of like, this is not going to last forever. Which is not true. People can have really long, consistent winning streaks. But I think to counteract that, I've gotten better at just being like, this is great. Right now, I'm having all these great days. There's going to be a day where I don't nail it. And that's okay too, because, if we're considering probabilities, coin flip, casino mentality, not everyone's going to hit. And so I've been doing a better job of staying more level through that period of just respecting the variance of trading, and as well with Market Mamas, certain podcast episodes just really hit and other ones I'm like, that's so good. And then it doesn't really find the viewers. So, if you're here with me, maybe leave a comment and give me some feedback, because 2 years in, I still feel like this is worth my time and energy. Like Market Mamas is definitely a labor of love and it's a passion of mine that I feel like I don't mind being a voice that puts it out there that says that, being consistent month over month is hard and I'm not quite there yet. And working through relationship changes such as, transitioning from Market Mamas being a duo to independent and then shifting my core inner circle, after that transition as well. I mean, I don't mind being the person who says that like real life is hard and that impacts trading, and trading, it has been challenging and it's not always a consistent, beautiful uptrend for me. And I think that that is, more common than not, that external factors really impact our trading. And for me, I'm prioritizing acknowledging that and doing my best day to day and remembering my long-term goals, kind of the why of all of this, the why of the energy of what I bring to this podcast, with the intent of supporting other traders who are likewise working through this kind of messy middle period of trading as well, but are wholly dedicated to the outcomes that we're striving towards. And then also my trading journey of knowing that I still want to reach out and learn from other people who are more advanced than myself, but also to respect the fact that I have got a repeatable, successful edge that works really well for me and a pretty strong read of market context and trading ability. And so it's a mix of having faith in myself as well as leaning into people around me that are still helping to refine me. And also to say that I stepped up in this last month or two in the fall, and I took a position at Blue Sky Trading Company. They are a prop firm that, everyone knows prop firms now. If you trade futures, Forex, really anything. If you're a retail trader, prop firms are kind of our jam because it takes some of the risk out of what we trade. You don't have to trade your own personal money. When I started trading, I funded my own account from savings and traded it, and it was dwindling because I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't consistent enough. And so now I do trade prop funding companies, and Blue Sky has been a really solid one. They're really constantly refining and improving their programs and their accounts, and offer so many different options that kind of speak to whatever type of trader you are. Anyways, I met their owner this summer, and it was a great energy with him. And so I have a small position there where I do a little bit of live streaming and another psychology conversation on Tuesdays, because it's sort of blossoming through the persistence that I think that I have had with trading. Like it's been years since I even considered quitting. And that is because I feel wholly dedicated to the energy of learning trading better, refining it so I can continue to be even more successful in my P&L outcomes, but then also kind of doubling down on this, being here with you all, market mamas, and the energy of having conversations all focused around trader psychology, right? And the effort that we're putting in to reframe our minds. And I actually recently just had breakfast with my good friend Peter, and he and I were talking about that of, had we known in the beginning how much internal psychological work this would have taken, would we have become traders? And both of our answers immediately was yes, because we have now found that it speaks to us and that we've got some skills and we have, had some profits from it. And bigger than that, though, the ways that we have grown as humans through this pursuit, the ways that we have had to dig into our psychology and start to repair that, heal some earlier wounds, and reshape our approach to everything in life, and especially trading, has been a powerful human change. I think that I'm a better, stronger, more compassionate, humble and aggressive person as a result of trading. And I like it. I like who I'm putting my energy to and who I'm becoming, just because it's stronger, and I'm having more faith in myself, and I'm believing in my worthiness. And if you guys are working through something similar, I wish that for you to be in that same place where you're recognizing that you're improving in just your overall belief in yourself and being humble through the process, but also recognizing that you have strength and power and energy and intelligence and are wholly capable of not quitting and relentlessly driving towards what your goals are, because it's possible. Like the stock market is abundant if you really can dial yourself in, learn from the right people, and then stay hungry with learning and fine tuning and adjusting and listening to the right feedback and the right technical analysis that helps skew what you're doing for the most consistent profitability. And then the same thing with the podcast and with my energy here. It has been, the same process, but just a little different outcomes of, what conversations do I feel are still the most powerful? Which direction do I want to head with the podcast? Who should I bring on as guests? How do I structure it? Who do I speak to? And that kind of led to my opportunity with Blue Sky. And I do that psychology conversation there. And it's because these conversations are important. It's because people need to know, I feel and still feel that we need to know that our experience is normal and natural and human, to know that we really want this and we don't want to quit, but hard days hurt. Like if you use the analogy of a boxer stepping into the ring and having to take punches and get back up again in order to win the match at the end. I mean, that's like day trading, right? And it hurts to get punched in the face. Like it does. It hurts to take a hard loss or have a red day that set you back a day or two in your P&L, depending on your outcome. It's unfortunate. It's not the desire. When we sit down on our trade desk in the morning, we write out our plan, we take our deep breaths, we get settled in order to execute to our best ability. In that situation, you're setting yourself up for success. You are coming at it ready to only take the best trades and to end the day with a strong P&L because you're a trader with an edge and you know how to enter your trades, right? And then when that goes against you and you end red, it can feel like a gut punch, but you have to kind of intervene there and just be like, wasn't my day, wasn't my trade. I'm going to come back stronger for this. It's okay. It's a part of my system in order to be able to withstand this moment, this trade, this period where it is more challenging, and to recognize where you're going and your whys and your goals and how the accounts are compounding when you allow them to grow safely. It's a beautiful phase that we are all working through. And I honestly just feel so blessed. I think leaning into gratitude and abundance is powerful for me, especially my personality. I don't know. I find it so grounding to just be able to say, I'm so thankful to be here with you guys 2 years into creating this Market Mamas podcast and to still feel like I have some energy to bring important conversations that are so grounding out for anyone who might need to hear as well. And then to just kind of update you guys. I'm still here. I'm still trading. I made some, decent change this year and I'm still working through, holding steadier, I would say, was part of it is just I got caught up with the kids during some of the periods. Like summer, I didn't make any money. And I think part of that was there's just more distractions and then I would take some time off. And so then there's little resets here and there. And I think that that's okay. Like that's being human. That's being in this period of figuring out what you need and what that looks like for your family and how you're growing and moving forward. So if you're still tuning into Market Mamas podcast and recognize the value of having good people around you to talk about the realities of what we're going through as aspiring and learning traders who are figuring out profitability. You are my people and thank you for being here with me. And, cheers to 2 years as Market Mamas. Like, cheers. I appreciate you all. And please do like, subscribe, and share. I mean, if you made it to the end of this episode where I'm just kind of updating you guys on life as a podcaster 2 years in and a day trader, a little over 4.5 years in now and still kicking it, still loving it, still passionate about it, and still growing. This new work with Blue Sky is just another example of how it can continue to grow and compound and slowly build up at a pace that our minds can adjust to in real time and appreciate and succeed forward towards. It's a beautiful energy to embrace and recognize that it's not going to be perfect and linear, but it is growing nonetheless. And I kind of love that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being part of my family and happy trading, everyone. Bye.